The truth is, teaching is nothing like most people actually think it is, nor is it even close to what you learn in college.
Not so easy, is it?
The reality of teaching is far from what the expectations are for the new teachers entering the profession. I remember the summer 21 years ago, before I started teaching, I remember getting the job, and I was just so excited to get the job. And I was so excited to find out exactly what I'm going to be teaching. And then once I found out, man, I went to work. I spent day and night creating lessons. I started looking over, the curriculum. I started looking over the time frame, the standards, and all those things, and the pacing. And I just started thinking. I started going on the internet, different lessons I could teach and how I would teach it, and then what do I do to get the students engaged. And my eyes went crazy lesson planning. I was so excited for it. And of course, don't give me, day one comes, day two, I'm nervous. Of course I'm nervous. This is a brand new job, everything else, students, and I'm nervous. But I quickly found out that all my planning, everything I had, all my expectations did not even come close to the reality. I could not even implement my lesson. It was a beautiful lesson. I could not even implement it. I'd be in front of class trying to talk. Students are paying attention. Students are being distracted. I'm trying to pass the paper. Students are crumbling up, throwing in the trash. Nothing I did seemed to work. And my expectations were like this. I put my blood, sweat, and tears in. And this is the best I got. And students were not even anywhere close to it. I could not even implement my lesson because the classroom was out of control. You see, the biggest problem is not lesson planning. It is classroom management. 44% of teachers will quit before year 5. 44%. That's almost half the teachers will quit before they get to year 5. Now, why will they quit? Now, if you look at different reasons why teachers quit the profession, it's all across the board. It talks about paid is possibly one of them. It talks about not support from administration. It talks about responsibilities more than they were expecting. But it talks about all these things. But the bottom line is this, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but the biggest complaint I see, the biggest struggle teachers have is that classroom management. And so when they mention, the pay's not there, they're basically saying for for the trauma I have to suffer with this behavior, it's not worth the pay. When it says, I don't have the support from administration, what it's saying, I have these behavior problems here that I have no support from administration to deal with. When it says there's extra duties, it goes all along with that behavior of the students. 44% of the teachers will quit before reaching year 5. And the main reason is the classroom behavior. So how do we get past that? Well, the answer is we got to become experts at classroom management. Now, here's a huge pet peeve I have of mine. I remember going through the college courses, and these new teachers, they go through all these different college courses on the theories of education, equality, equity of education, all these different ideas as far as education as it should be. But the reality is when you are in the trenches, the only thing that matters in that particular moment is that behavior in class, is that classroom management. You cannot even get to all those theories until you have practical solution, common sense solutions to what's going on in your classroom. You have to get really good at classroom management. So my advice for any new teachers or any teachers that are struggling at all is no matter what your principal says, you still have to play the game, right? You still got to show up the meetings. You still got to be part of the conversation. You still got to look at standards and testing and all. You still got to do that. But I've never, ever heard of a teacher getting fired because they didn't cover a standard. I never heard of that. I never heard a teacher getting fired because they didn't implement a lesson like it was supposed to be implemented. I have heard of lots of teachers getting fired because of the behavior in the class. So my advice to you is do not stress about the other stuff. You're going to have to do it. You're going to have to go through the motions. But 95% of your effort and energy should be on that classroom management. How to get the class under control, how to implement a lesson, how to deal with behavior, progressive discipline, how do you call home, how do you document, how do you stop things from escalating. All those things should be connected with it. Now, if it is of any benefit to you at all, I do have a free course on classroom management. You click on the link below boom, it'll take you right there. And hopefully that it can be a good service to you for that. But for my first year, second theory teachers, please try to put all the other nonsense away that you're going to be hearing, and you're going to be hearing it from everywhere, principals and everything else, and just focus on that classroom management. And even before you get into teaching, if you really want to see you have what it takes, man, the best thing you can do is become a substitute teacher. You see, if you can do a substitute teaching job, in my opinion, I've been doing this 21 years, and even when I go into another class, it's still a little bit of struggle just because I'm a new face in a new class. If you can do substitute teaching and you can survive substitute teaching, because in my opinion, that is the hardest gig in education. If you can survive that, oh my goodness gracious, being a full-time teacher should be no problem at all. So before you become a teacher, I would highly recommend you try the substitute teaching just to see if it is for what you want. And if it is, and you can handle substitute teaching and you actually like it, then being a full-time teacher is going to be no problem at all.